I know that there are many people when it comes to churches like ours, Wave Church, you know, it's like, and you walk into some small little Us Four No More, no one's really asking the question, where does all the money go? But a church like ours where, you know, we are growing and we're expanding, it's quite funny. One of the jokes that Carl and I always joke about is people say, how much did all these moving lights cost? Which is really funny because I think we got one or two up there.
Most of the lights are from Target.
Yeah, literally. Target. That's where we get them from. And how much do they spend on all the props? We just have people who paint things. And you know, this flashy church, where does all the money go? So we thought tonight we would just take a chance. Some of the questions that have been asked of me, that have been asked of larger churches that are doing something and are having influence, some of the accusational kind of questions that have been put to us. And there's two things. We want to answer that for people. We also want you to know the answers to those questions. So when people are saying those things, you've got an understanding of what that's all about. So, Carl, you've got me in the hot seat.
I do.
And you're enjoying this no end, I can tell.
I am. Can you stand? My questions are on the back of this Tom Brady thing.
Well,
You'll look at it all day long. Well, let's get this party started right, okay? We'll go the most serious one first, and we'll get looser as we go. First one, as a Christian,
yes.
Is it wrong for me to bet money on the Super Bowl tonight?
Ooh.
It's for a friend, not for me.
I believe you, Carl. That's called transference of guilt, in case you didn't know. That's another subject. Hey, let me just say this. When it comes to like gambling, when it comes to betting, when it comes to those things, can I just tell you that, I grew up in a family, my father had a serious gambling addiction and literally lost everything. So for him, it wasn't just Super Bowl. It was anything he could bet on, whether it be, for him, it wasn't even so much casinos. It was more just, you know, the horses and betting on the horses and those things, and literally ruined our family's life in terms of financially. And the deception that goes with that is just devastating, let me tell you. So my personal opinion is, I don't think gambling's a sin. I want you to know that. I really don't. I think, you know, someone playing poker or betting on the Super, I don't think it's a sin. But I will say this, that I do believe with all my heart. In Psalm 20, verse 7, it says, some people trust in horses and chariots, but I trust in the name of my Lord. And I would rather put my finances in what is a sure return than chance. And if you talk to anybody, talk to a guy like Joe Monaco, who is just a genius on numbers and statistics and probabilities and all those things, and he'll tell you that all those things that you bet on, the odds are stacked against you beyond words. So if you just have natural wisdom and think it through, do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, but I just want to encourage you to just be careful. See, people with addictive personalities probably can't even afford to go near those things. And my personal opinion is I've never really bet on anything. I joke with my son and I bet him occasionally on a few things, and I've lost a little bit of money. So I don't think it's a sin. He still thinks I owe him $100, but that's debatable. So my personal feeling is, no, it's not a sin, but you want to be careful.
Wave Church has a huge income. Where does all the money go?
Firstly, what's the huge income? So,
I don't know. That's what someone asked.
But that's the perception, isn't it? You know, this is really rich, wealthy church. Well, last year, if we work out with Wave Children's Learning Center and Hampton Roads Community Care, we turned over just under $8 million last year. So that's, praise God for that, isn't it? And that's building fund, missions, tithes, offerings. That's every cent and penny accounted for. Where does all the money go? We have a church eldership. We have like a church governance that oversee all the finances, and they collectively really just put together a budget every year for the church finances. A couple of things you need to know. Number one, I don't and I can't set my own salary. It's not, and even people, elders who are on staff, like Bill Tahanchuk and Robert Cameron, because they're on staff, they are what's called beholding to me. So it's not, obviously, they can't have input into the setting of my salary, because it could be like, you look after me and I'll look after you kind of deal. So the people who actually are involved in that is Steve Lance and Joe Monaco and Trent Martin. As for right now, that's who's actually on that. So they oversee in terms of my own compensation, and even they don't even just do that themselves. They go to another group of people that actually make recommendations and do research. But the church eldership collectively oversee all the church finances. And so we actually set a budget, and every month we actually look at how every department is done, actual to budget, and we actually cash flow that out over the year, and we make sure we keep all that in checks and balances. I can't sign a check, at least I don't think I can. Put it this way, I never have. Signed a check, and I can't walk in and say, I want this. There's a process, there's systems, there's protocol, and so the money goes really. Now that we'll be having an annual audit. But let me give it to you real rough. Help me out here, Josh, if I'm wrong. 33% goes to building, 33% goes to operating, and 33% goes to personnel. How's that? It's about as honest as I can be. And that's actually of the tithes and offerings. That's not even the building fund. That doesn't count. Building fund all goes to building fund.
It's good. Right now, the news is full of churches having trouble with money matters, as you just said. From pastors stealing to extravagant living to church bankruptcy, there seems to be a lot of problems. How does Wave Church stay away from all the controversy?
Well, we got some very great elders in our board and our church that actually do a great job. Listen, this is what they do. And Josh Kicker, who is our business manager, is the guy that spearheads all this, let me tell you. But it's their job for us to not just be doing the right thing, to be seen to be doing the right thing. We don't need to have an annual audit, yet we choose to have one. And the reason for that is, many years ago, I was sitting down with Joe and a few of the other guys, and we talked about the kind of auditors we'd want to have. And I was saying to Joe, I want KPMG. And I said, the reason why I want that is not for today. Our income back in those days was maybe $1 million. But it wasn't because, of where we were today. It's because I know where we're going to go. I know the kind of church, the kind of size, and the kind of money that's going to be going through our church finances. And I want to make sure from the very get-go that if you set the right things in motion, when you're faithful to little things, God will make you faithful over much. So we made the decision to bring in the big boys. You with me here? To oversee us, and they do every year an audit on our church finances, where all the money comes in and how it's all spent, making sure there's no false companies where money's being filtered to somewhere. And I think it's awesome that we have that. And it's a great thing for you to know as you give your tithe and your offering, whilst we don't need to do that, whilst it costs us, money to do that, it's also peace of mind for people in the church.